So this video is just going to explain to you about how to lay your wall tops down in order to make a piece of felt. So felt is quite a unique fabric in the fact that it's a non-woven fabric. So basically you are using water and also movement to essentially like mat all the fibres together. Okay, so I've put on my table, I'm working just at my kitchen table. There's a plastic cover on it anyway, but I've also put down my tea towel. This is just to soak up any excess water that kind of comes from using or making the piece of felt. I'm then going to put down, so I've got quite a large, like A3 size piece of fabric that I'm going to put on top of my tea towel. And once I've laid my felt wall tops down, I will then fold it over, okay, to start the felting process. I've got my bubble wrap down, so I've laid it down bubble side up. That's just because that's the easiest, that's what I found easiest. So you have your wall tops. Now what's really important is obviously if you look at them closely, you can see there's lots of fibres, okay? So you need to pull your wall tops out. So, I mean, this is not a technical term, but so they're nice and fluffy. What you don't want to do is pull them out in big kind of chunks like this, okay? So the first part of the process, you need to lay down one layer of your wall tops, all flowing. So I'm starting kind of going in a horizontal way. Make sure that they're slightly overlapping. But the really important thing, it's worth spending a bit of time doing this, is making sure that you're really pulling the fibres apart, okay? I would suggest for your first piece that you kind of keep it roughly about the same size as your hand. The great thing about felt making is really you can make pieces any size. I've in the past made like, you know, a piece the size of my table. But, you know, as kind of the beginning, just keep it pretty small. So I've got one layer all going horizontally, and then the next part of the process is to then lay down a second layer. Again, make sure your wall tops are kind of pulled out and really fluffy. So this time my second layer is going kind of vertically down my piece of bubble wrap. So you're covering over what you've done previously. And you need to carry on doing this. So my third layer, I'm going to go back to coming horizontally across the page, a piece of bubble wrap. So you can see really fluffy. Now I'd suggest that you do sort of a minimum of 4 layers, and that will give you a fairly sort of decent sort of thickness of felt. Obviously, if you want something more substantial, then you just basically increase the layers. But basically, the idea is you go horizontal, vertical, and carry on that way. So the fibres are crossing over one another. Now, I'm just using my hands to pull the felt tops apart, but there is actually kind of a specialist tool called a carder, which are basically a set of kind of wooden paddles with a load of needles on them, and you use that to kind of pull the fibres apart. But I don't have one, and to be honest with you, I've done felt making for probably about 20 years, and I've probably only used them once. So yeah, so basically there's my piece of felt, my wall top's ready to start the felting process. So if you want to get yourselves organised, lay your piece of felt out, and then in the next video I'll talk about how you actually begin the felting process.